you guys. I wanted to do a video really explaining my own personal journey with Pseudotumor Cerebri. I really felt like there is a need, and I have felt like this for a long time, there's a need for more personal journeys through, these experiences. Because, when you're diagnosed with a condition, what do? You go online, you do research, and you look for hope, or you look for somebody to give you answers to your questions. And, I was diagnosed a couple years ago with this condition, and of course that's what I did. I went online, I looked for hope, and I looked for answers, and I was scared, and honestly, I didn't find much. And my condition isn't, it's considered a rare disease, and there isn't a whole lot of answers because they don't know what causes it, and they don't know if it'll ever go away permanently or if it'll, ever go away at all. This condition is, kind of, there's not a lot you can tell about it, but I can at least, tell people my personal story with this condition and maybe give someone some hope, which ultimately would and is my goal, throughout this little video. So I'm going to try to make it quick, but I really just feel like I needed to share this. It's been on my heart for a long time to share my story with whoever is in need. And yeah, so let me start out by telling you that I was diagnosed with this condition when I was 23 years old. It was after I had my first two children, and when I was diagnosed with this condition, I was overweight, and I wasn't like the typical person to get pseudotumor, because typical people to get pseudotumor are people in the obese category, and I was just considered overweight. I was about 30 pounds overweight at the time, and so that's why even the doctors were really shocked that I was diagnosed with this condition and that my pressure was so high. So let me first tell you that I was diagnosed young, but typical people that get this condition are between the ages of like 16 and 50. So mostly women get this condition. And like I said before, they don't know what causes it. They do know that there is a link with being obese or overweight, really overweight, and being women. So, but that's all they know. They also know there is no cure for this condition, and the only way to diagnose it is through a lumbar puncture. And that basically was how it went down for me. I was young and I didn't have health insurance, and when things went wrong, I just didn't seek medical attention. I was like, it'll go away. You don't ever worry about anything bad happening to you when you're young. So I started getting headaches probably 6 months before I was diagnosed, and I just thought I was addicted to caffeine, or, I took too much Tylenol so it didn't work, and, all that stuff. I didn't think anything of it. I just shoved it off like it was nothing. And then I started to have visual problems, and the visual problems were like seeing stars when I would bend over and pick something up, or I would have a hard time seeing things in my peripheral vision, and then my vision I started to experience blackouts in my vision, here or there, and they'd last like 5 seconds, and then it would come back, and then it started to happen more often. And you'd think I would have been afraid, but I was just like, no, I'm sure it's nothing. It'll go away. My vision always comes back. I didn't think anything of it, which, isn't smart. But I had headaches that were so bad sometimes that I would throw up from the pain. And I had neck pressure, like intense pressure in my neck. And that ultimately what made me go to see a doctor was my good friend heard that this was happening to me, and she was like, Susan, you have to go see a doctor. That's not normal. So I was like, okay, I'll go see my eye doctor, because I thought there was something wrong with my eyes, and there was. So I went in to see my eye doctor, and he dilated my eyes. He looked at my optic nerves, and he told me that my optic nerves were severely swollen. He said that something is putting pressure on my optic nerves. He couldn't tell me what, but that I needed to see a neurologist soon. And I was like, oh man. When I left there, I was certain I had a brain tumor. And I was so upset with myself for not going to the doctor sooner. I made an appointment with a neurologist, and it was about 3 weeks out. And my eye doctor found out that I was going to wait 3 weeks to go see a medical professional, and he called me and he said, you can't wait 3 weeks. If you have a brain tumor, you could be dead in 3 weeks. You need to see a doctor tomorrow. So, if anything, that freaked me out enough to go to the ER. So I went to the ER the next day, and I got there early, like 10 o'clock in the morning, and he was like, the doctor in the ER was like, so you're here for a headache? Your eye doctor sent you here? And I'm like, yeah. Told him I had a headache, told him about my optic nerves, and he kind of looked at me like, that's strange, girl. So he looked at my eyes, though, and he saw they were swollen, and he was like, we got to get this girl an MRI. So they did an MRI, and thank the Lord they did not see anything. I did not have a brain tumor. So grateful. The doctor did come back and tell me, Susan, I think I know what's wrong with you, but it will require a lumbar puncture. And I am terrified of needles, so especially having a lumbar puncture was incredibly terrifying for me. But I did it, and I survived. I was fine, and you know, what they do to check for pseudotumor is you have a pressure in your spinal fluid, just like you have a blood pressure. And when they check your spinal fluid, they can check the color of your spinal fluid plus the amount by a pressure. And so they check that pressure reading. And most people have a pressure between 13 and 18. And mine was 60. It literally went, the little device went up to a 55, and then it stopped. And then it would just go off the chart, and mine went off the chart. The doctor told me it was around 60. He could not believe how high my pressure was. And my tolerance for headache pain was amazing. He, drained some of the spinal fluid, and my headache went away instantly. It was amazing. He right then and there said, that's what you have. You have Pseudotumor Cerebri. And I asked him, what's going to happen to me? And he said, well, you're going to be put on medication, but, ultimately you'll be okay. The condition doesn't kill you. It can make you go blind if you're not treated for it, which was what was happening to me. And I didn't realize it. I was admitted for about a week. I was put on some rough medication, but I do believe ultimately the medication did help with the condition. I had a total of 8 lumbar punctures over 2 years, and one day I just started to think, I think my pressure is stabilizing. I just felt like that. I had less and less headaches, and I didn't have a need for lumbar punctures anymore, and so I slowly went off the medication, and I haven't been on it in the last 3.5 years. I am really grateful and feel so blessed to no longer have this condition. I don't know why it went away. The doctors don't know why it went away. And they also don't know if it'll ever come back. There's always a chance that it'll come back. But I just live my life as best as I can. And I try to stay under a certain weight and eat right and be healthy. And, if I have any side effects of having that condition today, it would be, I do have some back pain, lower back problems. They're not bad. Mostly it's, I think, muscle related, but I might need to have a future MRI of my back just to, make sure. I've had multiple lumbar punctures and 1 epidural, from one of my babies, so I might need to have that checked out someday. But I believe that if I am fit and I take care of myself and I exercise and I, keep my muscles strong, my muscles will protect my body. So I am going to continue on that path of trying to keep my back muscles strong, and know they'll take care of me. So yeah, I do not have pseudotumor anymore, and I was really discouraged when I found out I had that condition, because I didn't want to be on medication. I was so mad. I think about that mostly. I didn't want to be on it for my entire life. And I just wanted to be healthy because I was young and I had kids and a husband. And, you know, I thought it was a life sentence, but it went away. And ultimately, I really feel like it went away because of the medication combined with weight loss. So I honestly believe that. I really I'm glad that you guys decided to watch my video, and if you like it, great, that's awesome. Please give me feedback. This is my very first video, and I really wanted to do this just to give anyone some encouragement. I know that every case is different. My case might not be your case, but I do feel like I needed to share this. It's been on my heart for a long time to tell people my story, and I'm glad I'm finally able to do it now. So if you guys have questions, feel free to leave comments below, and I will try to best answer your questions. And I appreciate you guys watching this video, and I hope you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Thanks.